Get ready for today's cheating tales. Story 1. Cheated on me, blamed me for it, and now is angry for leaving her. So my 26M ex-girlfriend, 23F, of 2 years was cheating on me for a month with a coworker when I was in a different state couch crashing, unemployed, and broke. She said she was in a dark place and was not herself during that time. She manipulated me, gaslit me, lied to my face, and even used my credit cards to spend money on the guy she cheated with. Worst part was I caught her on our second anniversary. Now that I've left her, she's mad at me for not staying and helping her out of her depression and changing. She keeps telling me she loves me, that she'll change, and that it will take time, but she'll try to win me over. I told her we're done forever, and she's angry at me for leaving her. Like, how does that even make sense? She has a lot of childhood trauma, and her therapist suggested she has self-sabotaging behavior. I'm just at a loss for words. How can someone say I love you to your face after doing what she did? Yesterday, she even texted me saying that I didn't love her because I wasn't there for her emotionally when she needed me. I'm starting to wonder, is she a narcissist? Does she have BPD? Or does she just not understand what love or boundaries are? Her friends are also awful, just as toxic, and they cheat too, which I think normalized this behavior for her. I'm trying to psychoanalyze her behavior so I can forgive, forget, and move on from this mess faster. Also because I'm at disbelief that how can someone who I love and who says she loves me can treat me so poorly? Because I cannot ever think of doing this to anyone. If it was just cheating, I would take it as fucked up morals or hypersexuality and move on. But the combo of stealing, cheating, manipulation is what makes me think that she's going through something. Anyone else dealt with something similar? What do you think is going on here? She has abusive dad, conflict at home, abandonment issues. Edit. I have blocked her on all platforms, but she's using burner numbers and different emails to reach out. Mostly it's to say shit about me and blame me. It's not my problem anymore, but it's very difficult to move on. Story 2. I was tempted too. I get why people cheat. What I don't get is how they can destroy the life of their children. So I am an average-looking guy, and since the 12 years I am with my wife, married for 6, I had 2 times the opportunity to make some love with 2 extremely gorgeous women. Man, I was so tempted it was really hard to resist. I am even thinking about posting one story here where I stopped after kissing BC. It felt wrong even though I was drunk as shit. Well, since my wife gave birth to our beautiful boy, I am far less attracted by the other gender. I still picture some beautiful girls I met naked, but more out of curiosity than desire. And when I look at my boy of 2 years, and my newborn daughter, I could never forgive myself for tearing this family apart. I would never betray them like this. I'll rather die. So how can other people do that? Destroying your own children. Story 3. Caught mom cheating, has sugar daddy. Lost for words right now. We are at shock. We'll just refer to as woman, since I couldn't stand calling that person my mom. My youngest sibling was the one who saw it. He was borrowing that woman's phone to play games and stuff when he saw the notification from someone with the word babe. To give context, the one who texted that woman was her former boss. Our dad works 24/7, very disciplined, loves us, provides for us, gives us all the attention we need, and makes effort for us to love comfortably. That woman, however, doesn't have a job, always at the mall to go shopping, a fucking narcissist, and an absent mother ever since we were born. Told my sibling to look for other evidences, so we snooped into her messages, and it was clean. Except she didn't check the recently deleted section. We recovered some of the messages, and her former boss was sending her money and calls her B. Mind you, her former boss is already 80 plus while she's 40 plus. Disgusting. And she has a cheating history with my dad too. Her mother, deceased, and sister have always covered up for her. That's why we are planning to cut ties with her side of the family once this whole chaos ends. Now we are torn whether to tell our dad the soonest or wait for him to come back from his business trip. The problem is that my dad is at the peak of his career and might go to his drinking habits again once this BS comes out, and we're worried that everything he's worked hard might go down. We're planning to tell my dad's brother first so we can strategize. But in all honesty, I don't know what to do. My other sibling and I are busy and stressed out with college, and the one who found out is still a child. I am mad, disgusted, and sad. Oh, and it's their upcoming wedding anniversary this weekend. So there's that. Story 4. My fiancé offered me a free pass. So my fiancé and I have had a few rocky moments, and I caught him trying to go to massage places that aren't for massages, if you get what I'm saying. But I threatened to leave and not come back. We did make up, and I agreed to forgive him, but today he told me he's been having dreams of me cheating on him, and he said that he wanted to give me a free pass to do anything with anyone BC. He did hurt me, but he doesn't want to know anything. But I DNT want it, and I know it would ruin and I'm just not THT kind of person. But do you think he actually feels bad or guilty about something else? I just DNT really believe he would give me a free pass for no reason. Story 5. Advice needed. I made a huge mistake and don't know what to do now. 22F. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for over a year, and I made a terrible mistake that I deeply regret. While under the influence of drugs, I cheated on him twice. The person I cheated with has developed feelings for me and started pressuring me to meet up again, but I've refused, telling him it was a mistake and would never happen again. He didn't take that well and ended up messaging my boyfriend on Facebook, revealing what happened. Luckily, my boyfriend doesn't have a phone and uses mine, so I was able to access his account, reply to the message pretending to be him, and block the other guy. I also met with the guy in person and lied, telling him my boyfriend and I had broken up to get him to leave me alone. Now the guy thinks we're no longer together. I'm absolutely terrified that my boyfriend will find out the truth. Both men are from the same city, and we all go to similar places, so there's a chance they might run into each other or have mutual friends. I love my boyfriend deeply, and we've even been planning our wedding for next year, but I know what I did was wrong. Should I come clean and risk losing him, or keep this secret to protect him from the truth? I'm really struggling and could use some advice. Story 6. Cheating spouse. Can I ever trust him again? I found out my husband has been having an affair for nearly 2 years. We already have filed for divorce. He told me it was for himself to find happiness and fix himself, only to find out it was to be with his affair partner. He did tell me about the affair a few weeks later. He denied he was still talking with his affair partner. Turns out, he was. And then it comes to light that he has cheated on me a few times, more times, over the course of our marriage, 11 years. We have children together who are under the age of 7. I am prepared to forgive him, but not sure if I can trust him. I asked him to cut off contact with his affair partner, but he won't. There is a lot of drama and passion between them. I feel like I can't commit to working in the relationship until he can commit to wanting to be in it. How can I ever know if it will be good again or better if he can't cut out his affair partner from his life? Story 7. She cheated and I paid for it? It started like any other night. My 23M girlfriend, 23F, of 5 years and I decided to hit the back roads for a little joyride, the kind of simple fun that had become a tradition in our small town. We grabbed a rack of beer, invited my younger brother, 18M, and his lady friend to join, and set off into the night. I had a few beers, 3 or 4 at most, but called it early. I had an early shift the next morning and didn't want to overdo it. They dropped me off at home, promising they'd keep the night alive for a bit longer. I kissed her goodbye, figuring she'd be back in an hour or two, then climbed into bed. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up, my bladder screaming for attention. As I shuffled to the bathroom, I noticed her side of the bed was still empty. A quick glance at my phone showed no missed calls or texts. I shot her a message, something casual, and went back to sleep. By the time my alarm blared a few hours later, she was home. She bounced into bed with an almost suspicious amount of energy, waking me up with morning sex like everything was perfectly normal. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I showered, kissed her goodbye, and headed to work. Weeks passed, and then came the bombshell. She was pregnant. My heart raced. We weren't planning for kids, and I'd always been meticulous about using protection, but accidents happen, right? We chalked it up to a defective condom. After some tearful conversations, we agreed to terminate the pregnancy. It wasn't an easy decision, but we faced it together, or so I thought. I took time off work to support her through it. I drove her to the clinic, paid for the procedure, and spent days making sure she was comfortable and cared for. Looking back now, I realize how blind I was. I thought I was being a good partner. Instead, I was being played. It wasn't until years later, after we'd broken up, that I learned the truth. My younger brother and I were catching up over beers when her name came up. It was a casual mention at first, but he stumbled over his words, his face turning red. Something was off. I pressed him, and that's when he cracked. Apparently, the night I went home early, they'd dropped his lady friend off shortly after that. That left just the two of them driving aimlessly. One thing led to another, and she parked the car. According to him, she initiated it, but he didn't stop her. He didn't even try. Hearing this, I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. I couldn't believe it. My girlfriend of 5 years, the woman I thought I'd marry one day, had cheated on me with my own brother. Worse, the pregnancy I'd grieved and paid to terminate wasn't even mine. For a long time, I didn't know how to process it. I wanted to be angry at her, at him, at myself for being so blind. It wasn't until another mutual friend confirmed the story years later that it all truly sank in. She'd taken advantage of both of us in different ways, and I'd been too trusting to see it. Now looking back, I see all the cracks I missed. That the signs were there if I'd only paid closer attention. But hindsight is a cruel teacher, and some lessons come at the cost of everything you thought you knew. TLDR. Girlfriend of 5 years got pregnant by my brother and had me pay for the abortion. Found out by accident years later. Story 8. The trauma of being cheated on. The worst part when someone cheats on you, especially in marriage, is you put your life on hold whilst your spouse continue to live theirs. My husband cheated on me years back, and it resulted in a child. I was really hurt, he apologized and wouldn't let me go. All this time, I have been so hung up on the things he should be doing for me. I have been waiting for that time he will make it up to me. I have suppressed my wants and needs to prioritize his so that I can earn his love. I was so terrified of starting all over, and for the longest time I blamed myself for his actions. I thought if I could do better, he will not betray me again. I couldn't leave him because I thought, what if he goes to the new baby mama and they live happily ever after? Then what will happen to me and my kids? I used to be a happy, cheerful, and bubbly person, but now even my kids are terrified of me. I'm sad and depressed, and it only comes out as anger and despair. I try to express my feelings, but none of them is validated. I feel like I'm alive but dead inside. I don't want to live like this anymore. Every time his phone rings, or whenever he goes out, and whenever he laughs or smiles on his phone, my insides twist like I am gonna be sick, my heart hurts all over again. I can't help but think history is repeating itself. I want to be happy again. I don't want his actions or words to determine my mood. I miss the me I was before. For some reason, I feel like if I leave right now, I will be more on the losing side. I will be the one to get hurt again. He will probably move on like nothing happened. Will I live with that? I want to walk away with my head held high and know that no matter what, I'm not going back. Story 9. Is he cheating or am I being paranoid? I caught my husband bringing a woman home at 6 a.m. on our garage cameras while I was away visiting family. When I caught him, I called his phone 40 plus times and he did not answer, stating his phone was in his pocket and the vibrate was off. But I could see him coming and going, actively on the camera and motion inside our home. He states he had picked up a stripper that his friend wanted to hook up with at our house. The stripper was from the strip club they were at earlier in the night. I only saw and heard my husband and the women. The friend was not on camera. When I asked my husband to prove to me it wasn't him, he said that he didn't have any proof and to take his word for it. He also did not want to say who the friend was for hours and hours, and said that the reasoning was because he didn't want to expose his friend. I know deep down my husband would not cheat on me, but our marriage has not been the best the past few years, and just the last few months his behavior has been very bizarre, and he has been hiding many things, including finances, his location, etc. Now I don't know what to believe. I have never been in this situation. Story 10. How to overcome cheating from my partner. How can I overcome the pain of being cheated on? My partner cheated on me while we were dating 3 years ago. Now, they went back to their ex and had a physical relationship with them. Their explanation for it wasn't convincing, but somehow I chose to forgive and move forward. Later, we broke up for about a month. After getting back together, I found out that during our short breakup, which lasted around 15 to 20 days, they again had a physical relationship with the same person. Despite this, I gave the relationship another chance. The issue is, I've never fully been able to overcome the betrayal. Whenever we have arguments or disputes, I find myself bringing up the past, and my anger escalates. I even turn the anger inward and hurt myself emotionally. A few days ago, my partner admitted that they don't regret cheating on me. Hearing that broke me even more. Today, while watching a movie, I was triggered by these feelings when protagonist was cheating. Stopped talking to my partner entirely, giving them the silent treatment. I'm struggling to process everything and to understand how to move forward from this pain. How do I let go and heal? Now our parents have also met and date are needed to be decided. Story 11. Cheating on my girlfriend of 3 years. My girlfriend and I have had a beautiful relationship. It has been a rocky road here and there, but we always committed to each other. We both came a long way and became practically family. This isn't a justification of what I did. I think what I did was horrible, no matter what the case may be. Recently, I've been working outside of town for weeks to sometimes months at a time. And during that, I found my girlfriend has been acting strange, and us having very open communication. I asked her and tried to explain to her how I was feeling. Insistent. She eased my worries, but eventually in time I found it became more and more noticeable, to the point where it was hard for her to ease my concerns. Eventually work came to an end, got laid off, spent most of my days doing MMA and spending time with her, except when I got back, there was something off and I couldn't shake it. My mind began to dwell on it, and eventually in a moment of vulnerability, this girl I knew back from when I was younger added me on Snap, so I added her back. We began talking. It was different to have someone genuinely care about what you're doing with your life, and the conversation was mostly friendly, until I said she was cute. Part of me just wanted a friend I can have there in case things go south with my girlfriend. I never met up with this girl and planned to unadd her the next day, but my girlfriend logged into my Snap and saw our conversation, and I was fucked. Though I know many who wouldn't consider this cheating, but in my opinion, cheating is breaking any boundary that would break your significant other's trust. I am open to advice, but deep down this is just to get it off my chest. Story 12. I feel like cheating is way too overlooked and forgiven now. It feels like everywhere I look, cheating is treated as no big deal. Movies, TV shows, social media. It's either romanticized, joked about, or brushed off like it's just something people do. What happened to loyalty and respect in relationships? It's so frustrating to see people justifying it with excuses like, the relationship was already over, or people aren't meant to be monogamous. If you're unhappy, communicate or leave. Don't betray someone who trusts you. Cheating doesn't just hurt the person being cheated on, ruins trust for future relationships, and leaves emotional scars that take years to heal. But somehow, the cheater often gets sympathy or a free pass, while the person who is cheated on gets blamed for not being enough. I get that relationships can be complicated, but this casual acceptance of infidelity needs to stop. Can we normalize accountability and honesty instead? Story 13. My boyfriend cheated emotionally and I need help on what to do. Last night, I, 22F, learned that my boyfriend, 21M, cheated on me the night before. I received a DM from a girl who had explained that she accidentally sent my boyfriend a picture of her in a bathing suit, to which he responded by telling her how good she looks. She called him out for having a girlfriend and being flirty with someone else, apologized for hyping her up, and said that he's always found her attractive. I confronted him about it, and he took full responsibility, saying that he was drunk and thinking with his dick, but how that's not an excuse. He takes all the responsibility and knows what he did was wrong and hurt me. He has been extremely apologetic and seems very genuine. Before any of this happened, we had never had any issues with one another, and we're in the healthiest relationship I had ever been in. I feel like I can't trust him right now, but maybe I can get to a point where I can trust him again, but I'm not sure what to do. I haven't broken up with him, but I did tell him to get out of the apartment and that I need space right now. I do love him and care about him, and I want to try and make amends, but then I'm the girl who stayed with the cheater. I have no clue whether or not to just break things off now or at least try and make it work. Please help. Story 14. My perfect relationship was ruined. The whole story is incredibly long, but over 2 years ago, I met this man. Everyone says new love feels like a fairy tale, and they are right. And I continued to feel this way until I found out he cheated. I'm just so broken that I was so comfortable with growing old with him, just to find out he hooked up with another girl the week of our second anniversary. He traveled to her city to pick up my anniversary gift and fuck her the same day. The nerve. Rolling on the floor laughing our anniversary was over the summer, and I seen only part of the text messages with this girl as he forgot he was screen sharing on FaceTime and opened his messages. I seen her call him sexy. I confronted him and asked to see the rest. Then he promptly deleted everything. He told me that it was only texting and he never did anything with her, and that he met her at the park when getting my gift. I already felt cheated on without knowing the full story, and he's a horrible liar. We broke up shortly after but still acted as if we were together. We rekindled in December, 2 days ago. He confesses to hooking up with her after meeting her on Tinder. I'm only 21, but I promise I loved him with my whole heart. I'm very emotionally aware and intelligent. And at least to me, this wasn't dumb young love. I was adamant about creating a future with this man and was taking steps to make it possible each day, which was important to me as we are long distance. It's hard for me to move on from someone I felt so safe with, but I know I can't love him again. There are so many missing details, and I am willing to answer any questions if anyone has any. Story 15. Found out my partner had another relationship. We tried to reconcile, but I am walking away. I, 47F, found out my partner, 59M, of 7 years has been having a secret relationship with a woman in another city. It was going on for at least 8 months before I figured it out. For years he's traveled researching a book, and I guess he was changing his location settings to his iPad and leaving at his hotel. I started noticing that sometimes my texts went unread for a long time, or he didn't answer my calls, and noticing those were times he was in a particular city. Sometimes his location didn't move from the hotel for an entire day. When I asked him about it, he would say he was in the zone with his writing, or having trouble with his phone. Or he'd say, "What do you mean? I did reply." Or he would say that he didn't want to bother me because he knew that I was busy even though I was the one calling and texting. He would get annoyed with me for nagging and say he said he doesn't do that to me. When I asked him what exactly he was researching in that city, he would say, "You would be so bored." And I was like, "Try me." But he would still somehow not answer, and he's really good at changing the topic. I felt really secure in our relationship. So it took me a long time to put it all together. We don't live together. It sounds weird to other people, but we each have complex lives, and this arrangement works for us. We live a short flight apart and see each other every couple weeks. I don't visit him as often as he visits me because I have to go to work Monday to Friday while he is a writer and makes his own schedule. Anyway, a couple months ago he went to that other city again and I watched his dot. I know now he either forgot to spoof his location or brought the wrong device. I noticed he was at a house in a residential area near the hotel he was normally at. He was there all afternoon and evening. Didn't answer my calls or texts. I took a photo of his location and looked up the address. I found her instantly. They are connected on social media. He's got a lot of followers and doesn't follow many people, but he follows her. I still didn't really know, but then I saw her Goodreads page. And last year she read the same books he read. Then I looked at our calendar and our texting and call history during all the times he had been in that city. I made a list of 6 trips where I thought something happened. He was scheduled to visit me and my extended family for Thanksgiving, and I debated what to do. When he arrived, I didn't confront him but asked, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" And over a couple days kept steering our convo to relationship talk. Nope, nothing. He was loving and his normal self. I was careful not to say, "I think you're having an affair," because he flips out when he is accused of things he didn't do. I didn't have any solid evidence, just hunches and associations, so I wanted to make a safe space for him to tell me so there wouldn't be a nasty blow-up. I thought we could work calmly together on what to do next. I guess I'm a chicken. I ran out of ways to ask him, but did ask him if he was still happy with our long-distance arrangement. He was going to move in with me this year after his last kid goes to college. Yep. "Things are great," he said. Took him to the airport to catch his flight home, except he didn't fly home. He flew to her city again without saying he was going to. His location stopped updating in the pickup area of the airport. 10 minutes later, I called him. Then again 30 minutes later, and 45 minutes later. The third time, the call was canceled immediately. I texted him, "I know what you're doing," but the text was not delivered. The next morning, I sent the other woman a short email. Always. "Hi, I am so-and-so's partner. He left here yesterday and turned off his location when he landed. Is he with you?" A couple HREs go by. My text, "I know what you're doing," went through but shows unread. I fell into in a horrible state. It hit me for the first time that this is real. He really is having an affair. I had a panic attack where I lost circulation in my hands and had trouble breathing. I was on and off again like that for 2 days. All that physical panic has mostly faded, thank God. But I still get the shakes when I'm writing about it, and I'm still having real trouble sleeping. Now, I'm trying to get on the calendar of a therapist because I know I need help to work through this. I stopped sharing my location with him and removed him from Find My. It really bothered me that I didn't know exactly what happened. I feel like my sense of reality is messed up. I wanted to hear him tell me the story so I could stop trying to figure out what happened when. So I kept calling. On day 3, he answered. He was back at home, and the first part of our call was him being furious with me for contacting her. Said I violated her privacy. He asked why didn't I talk to him first. Said that I tried to. I asked him to tell me what was going on and tell what is his relationship with this woman. He wouldn't tell me. He was angry. He said, "No, you tell me what you know first." Then he started to trickle out the truth. He wouldn't tell me anything that I didn't ask specifically about, so I went through my list of dates. It took a long time, and he was pissed and kept calling it an interrogation, but he didn't hang up on me. It was 2 hours of talking before he said sorry for hurting me, but that was because I asked him to say he was sorry. It did not feel like a real apology because he spent most of the call telling me how he had to cheat because I neglected him, and he was unhappy. It was like, "Sorry I hurt you, but you have to understand my reasons," etc. He said the other woman showed him my email while he was at her house, and it was a blow-up, but he stayed there with her for the next 2 days to talk it out. He said she forgives him. He told me the other woman knew that he was not available as a partner, and she knew there was someone else but just didn't know the details. This seems unlikely to me given how devastated he says she is. He said you dropped a bomb on her. I said, he dropped the bomb on both of us, and pointed out that it sounds like he lied to her too. The word lied made him lose it. Don't use that word, that's your story. You aren't listening to mine. I've been a fool. And I feel dumb saying this, but we've been trying to reconcile on the phone for a month. I told him my sense of reality is messed up after all this, and I'm trying to square what really happened so I can make sense of it and hopefully heal. At first, I wanted to get his story out, but then I realized I wanted to stick around until he showed some remorse. Then I thought, This is a wake-up call to our relationship, but maybe we can still make this work. Believe me, I'm looking hard at how I could think that and why I would do this to myself. It took a long time, 2 weeks, to get the details, since he can't seem to remember their chronology or anything they did together. The only way he will talk about a rendezvous is if I go through my calendar and our text history to find times he lied to me and ask him a question about that specific time. I've gotten him to tell me about 10 rendezvous, and when I asked him if there are more, he says, "I don't think so." Again, it's incredible how forgetful he is about the details. Once he flew her to meet him somewhere, once in Europe, and he spoofed his location so I would think he was at home. He has a second phone with a number I didn't know about. When I expressed amazement at some of the trips, he said all their travel was spontaneous and last minute. It gets frustrated with my insisting on him talking about his affair and says, "When can we move on and get to the real issue?" Which to him is his unhappiness and my supposed neglect of him that led to him doing it. He said that he sought out a friendship with another woman because was lonely. He said the friendship crossed over to romance and he didn't know how to stop it. In the beginning, he insisted he and this other woman were only friends until I asked, "Did you have sex with her?" And he said yes. He said he didn't really want to travel with her, but he traveled with her because he couldn't travel with me. He says this other woman is not a serious relationship, and he still wants to be with me and go to couples counseling to work out our issues. One of our first conversations when we got together years ago was him telling me about how important fidelity and trust is to him. We were on the same page about that. Married. We aren't married, but we are exclusive. We share location, and if I go somewhere in the evening, I send him a photo of who I'm with. If I go anywhere I don't usually go, he will call or text me right away. I thought this was love, but now I wonder if it was control and projection on his part. As far as I knew, we've been in a committed relationship, but the last couple weeks he has said, well, we aren't married, and he didn't think of himself in an exclusive relationship. It is to me. I haven't known what his relationship is with the other woman since the reveal, but I'm paying attention to everything he says now and listening to my gut. He let slip a few days ago something that she said to him, which means that he has talked to her. I asked him, "What is the nature of your current relationship with her?" He paused and then told me they are still in touch, and they talk on the phone every few days. He said he is helping her with some admin stuff he has experience with, and she is helping him see that what he did is wrong. I was angry but tried to stay calm and said as firmly as I could, "I can't control what you do. I can't control if you continue your relationship with her, but I can control what I will accept. I will not accept you remaining in contact with her if we are going to salvage our relationship." He got angry and says her friendship is important to him, and they started out as friends, and he doesn't see why that can't continue. He said, "I need friends. You have friends, and I don't stop you from seeing them." I said, "This is not a friend. This is a serious romantic relationship you developed with another woman behind my back and then lied to me about." And he doesn't like it when I use the word lied, and it's a surefire way to make him start talking over me or hang up. He said when I use words like that, like the word lied or cheated, that is me telling my story again and not respecting his story. I said, "Well, you did lie to me. How can I trust you?" He said that if I don't trust him after all these years, then we have a serious problem. I reminded him that he blew up all our trust when he cheated on me, and we have to work together to build it back up again. I said, "End it with her or end it with me. You can't have both." We argued, and he hung up. 2 hours later, he called me and said he talked to her, and she has agreed to step back while we work things out. I didn't say anything, but the wording of that really struck me. She agreed to step back, not him. This is when I did a bad thing. I have his web hosting passwords from when I made his website for him. I didn't use them before because I know I would be betraying his trust, and I knew he would be so angry we wouldn't be able to come back from it. I decided that want to know the truth, and then I will walk away. I read all their email correspondence for the last year, and no surprise, he's still lying to both of us. She never knew he had another relationship until I sent her that email. He instigated the relationship and pursued her. I learned there were more rendezvous he didn't tell me about, and the trips they took were not spontaneous. They were planned weeks in advance. He arranged the trips and the hotels and bought her plane tickets. There are outgoing emails to her since D-Day, the helpful life admin stuff he mentioned, sharing links and news articles, etc. But there is no relationship discussion from him in writing. I think he saves that for the phone. I think he's been trying not to leave a trail, and I realize that he also no longer replies to email. I send him either. However, I read her emails to him replying to stuff he has said, and it's easy enough to see they have also spent the last month reconciling. Sounds like he is all apology and remorse with her, while painting me as unstable, and our relationship is uncertain, and on again, off again. She is very supportive, and is waiting for him to wrap it up neatly with me so that he can return to her with a clear conscience. I learned they are planning travel for this coming summer. I can't tell him what I know or how I know it, and I think he might even try to press charges. I feel bad about myself for spying on both of them, but at least I have the truth now. I'm taking what I know and breaking off contact. That's MI's story. I don't want to hear any more of his. TLDR. My partner cheated on me for 8 months. I discovered it. We have been reconciling. I have decided not to reconcile and am moving on.